What's up?
Man, you guys are in for a treat today because I think the last time, Joel, that I had you, um, I think was like 2 years ago, I want to say. And time is like, man, and Joel is like for those of you guys who don't know, I was a huge, huge fangirl of Joel Erway long before we became friends. And, he's just one of those people in the internet marketing space that I actually pay attention to because a lot of you guys know I don't pay a lot of attention to the internet marketing space. But whenever I first saw Joel's stuff, and I started actually testing some of the stuff with my clients, I just found it to go very, very well together. And so a lot of the offer strategy that I have actually comes from the first power offer workshop because it's a lot of the fundamentals, right? As soon as you guys come into the $7 program, what's one of the very first things that I make you guys go through? That power offer workshop. And so I'm super excited to have Joel here. And Joel and we just kind of wanted to set this call up as kind of like a jam. Joel has been trying some new stuff alongside the power offer, and there's been a lot of changes, Joel, in the internet marketing space since we've hung out last. Do you want to kind of just let's dig right in? Let's go in. Like, you released the power offer workshop, what, 3 or 4 years ago now?
5 years. So
Oh gosh.
2020 was when it kind of became a thing. I taught it as part of my core if someone joined my 2000 or like $5,000 level program of high ticket courses, they would get introduced to the concept of the power offer in there. And in 2020, I broke it out as its own kind of like introductory standalone program. So I taught it since really 2016. In 2020, it kind of became its own thing.
I mean, it is like the basic fundamentals. And it's so funny because people are like, well, I don't think the power offer framework works for me. And I mean, we've used the power offer for e-commerce products. We've used it for coaching. We've used it for brick and mortar. I mean, it is one of those things that just withstands it's a great framework to use in any niche.
Yeah, it really is. It helps the creator, the advertiser, whoever's creating the concepts, it helps bring them like back down to center of just cool, what actually creates demand? What does the market actually want? And what is the feedback? So me, the offer owner or the promoter, the advertiser can like move forward and get really, really quick data feedback.
So what are some of the changes that you're seeing on your end, right? Like it just kind of seems like we're almost in a new era of, internet marketing, right? There's a lot of people who've kind of taken a step back and they're like, well, I've got to reposition my business, I've got to reposition my offer. What have you seen as far as the evolution of how offers are being perceived in the online marketing space?
The momentum that's been happening over the past, I'd say like 2 to 3 years has has kind of taken what we teach inside of the power offer and has just kind of like taken it by storm. Meaning, you are going to see what I am seeing is more and more and more people be as direct as possible. The momentum already kind of started, 3 or 4 years ago, but now it's becoming more relevant. And I think it's a testament to a couple of things, right? Um, Number one, our attention spans keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And number two, I think I talked about this yesterday on my. I was actually commenting on somebody else's post. They were talking about low ticket, and they were echoing everything I talk about inside the power offer. Um, you know, I think that as e-commerce, and I'll just say e-commerce in general, not necessarily buying like physical products, just as people continue to buy more online, um, we get used to buying online, and I really am seeing now that the solution aware segment of our markets is actually growing like it's a lot larger than people think. And what that means is they want directness. They want, like, okay, what have you got? If it makes sense, I'll consider buying it. So, Laurel, you teach ads. So I'll speak through the lens of advertising right now. Facebook and all the platforms, they are only getting better and better and better at knowing who the buyers are in your market. So when you put together some sort of direct offer or direct promise or something that is crystal clear of who you're trying to target through your messaging, it's now becoming, I don't ever want to say easier, but it is easier to get those results early on with our ads and get feedback on what it is you are offering to your audience. So I'm seeing advertising actually it's getting easier to find out if if your offer is, you know, um, desirable or not. But I'm actually finding it a little bit more difficult to kind of scale because Facebook is so good at finding your segment of buyers that now what they're doing is that's also becoming your competition. Like, I noticed this about 8 months ago. I would click on an ad for, let's say, a BizOp offer, right? How to make money with Amazon Audible ads. As soon as I go back to Facebook, I am now littered. I actually took a video screen recording of what was happening to my feed. And I kid you not, it was like 12 competitor offers that happened ad after ad after ad after ad of the first ad that I clicked. So what I've seen, Laura, I'd love your opinion on this, is Facebook is a friend and an ally. So it's great for us when we're like getting our stuff out there to quickly test because they know like they're just going to bucket you with any other similar offer and they're going to throw it right in front of them because they're already clicking on similar ads. So that gives us a very, very quick feedback loop, which is fantastic because like the number one thing we need is like viability of our offers. But I am finding it harder to kind of like break through to the next level of, I'll just say scale. I'll say spend because I think scale is not it's not the right word for many of us. Like when we go from spending like $50 a day to maybe like $300 a day. Like that's just increasing your spend. Scale is a different animal. So I'll pause right there, but that's kind of what I'm seeing, and it's it's just evolution, right? We just got to figure out how to play the game, how to adapt. But the good news is, I do believe it's getting easier for us who are entering the game to get very, very fast feedback.
Oh, 100%. Like as you were talking about that, I was like shaking my head because I've been telling my students this because Facebook literally will send you like your audience, your competitors' ads as soon as they click on yours. And I always talk about, my ecosystem, my ads ecosystem. I know Joel, we set up your ads ecosystem a couple of years ago. That's why the ecosystem is so important because for the exact reason that Joel said, market sophistication has changed. They're not only looking for the best product, they're looking at the best person to deliver the product. And so that's why having some sort of ecosystem to where people can get to know, like, and trust you behind the product, you're going to win.
Yep.
It's one of those things too. Another thing that I've seen, Joel, is your power offer framework actually becoming more effective because if you look at a couple of years back, I would always have students say, well, give me more copywriting frameworks. Like I want to, write the long form copy. I want to like I'm seeing the shorter form copy way outperform all of those long story copies and all that made up bullshit that copywriters used to come up with in order to get people to buy a product. Now it's like 2 lines. And that's why I always tell people go to the power offer workshop because it will have every single foundation is if you can't sell me in 1 to 2 lines, I'm moving on to the next thing. And that's how powerful our stuff has to be. Yes, Facebook has made it tremendously easy, but we have to not only come up with the best and clearest way to deliver those 1 to 2 lines, but we also have to have some authority to back those 1 to 2 lines. And that's one of the biggest changes that I'm seeing is that it's not these one and done type products. It's like people are looking for the person behind the person who's putting out the product.
Yeah. I saw it. A good friend of mine and colleague and client, his name is Eric Carlson, one of the best advertisers I've ever met. So he's spending like millions of dollars a month. And what he's noticing is that like his CPAs are going through the roof, like as he hits to a certain spend of scale, a certain scale of spend, I should say. And what he's noticing is like he's not even he knows he's not reaching his total addressable market. But what's happening is Facebook is only serving him a small bucket. Like it will not expand his audience to other people. And so his theory is that like Facebook's so good at just identifying the buyers right now that it only exclusively serves it to that audience based on the ad. So what he's finding work really, really well, it's similar to your ecosystem, but like he's just taking it in a different way. Um, like he has to come up with new ways to force Facebook to send him other buckets. One of the ways that he did it was he sent people to like a pre-selling like blog post, right? And he said that halved one of his clients' acquisition costs. He said it didn't work for every client that he worked for, but like he's needing to find ways to kind of like jerry rig the system of getting Facebook to send them other buckets, like unaware buckets, and just people who aren't being peppered with direct offer ads or whatever similar style ads that he's getting right now. So it's all a game, is
Oh my
really
God. I
all it
just
is.
did a video right before this call, Joel, on that exact same thing. And it actually, this is something I heard from you probably 3 years ago on your podcast, and it changed the way that I'm doing ads. And my students who've been with me for a while, you guys, this is going to sound really familiar, but I think this is going to bring this home. So, Joel, what I've been doing in order to exploit that entire audience, because how many of you guys here in the room, you've put an ad or two out and you're putting it out to an audience size of like, let's say 2 million people, but you're noticing that the reach is only getting about 100,000 of those people, right? It's because that ad angle only appealed to that percentage of that entire pocket of people, right? And so one of the things that I've done, and Joel, I think I sent you this video, how to create take one power offer and create 40. I think I sent you a Loom video of that exercise that I have inside my program. But one of the things that I found, I heard on your podcast where one guy was talking about the micro problem power offer. Instead of like writing the power offer based on your entire program or your entire service, you break it into all of these micro problems. And so I've been actually showing my students how to actually do that. So let's say there's 3 pillars of a program, and then there's 5 steps to achieving each pillar. I'm forcing them to write a power offer for each of those steps. So instead of having one power offer, they have 15 power offers. And then on top of that, I'm making them go, because people consume information in 4 different ways: analytical, anthropological, aspirational, and actionable. I'm having them turn that power offer into 4 different lenses of how people consume information, so that those 15 pieces of power content or power offers, they actually become 60. And so
Hmm.
it's to be able to exploit that audience size at a much deeper level, so that instead of Facebook showing the same ad to that same pocket of people and your CPMs keep going up and up and up, now we're able to launch 15 different angles to the same audience and lower our cost per acquisition, because now we're taking advantage of that entire audience pocket.
Yep. Yep. 100%. And you'll see this if you like, for instance, one of the things that I'm I've been focusing on over the past 5 years, ever since I launched the Power Offer Workshop. I run into this issue as an internet marketer, and so I preface this because while a lot of people know me for high ticket offers or book a call funnels, like that's really what the Power Offer was designed for. Like I do all marketing funnels. Like I do low ticket, I do mid ticket, I do high ticket, I do email marketing. And so like my goal is to try and share the best of like what's working now and specifically for the right situation for whatever people are trying to accomplish, because I don't believe in one size fits all. So the past 5 years, I've run ads with Laurel's help to the Power Offer Workshop, and I've learned a ton, like an absolute ton. And like now, because buyers are everywhere and they're very easy to target, very easy to get in front of. Like we are able to take, like one of the main objections, like, comment down if you can, comment if this if you've ever thought about this, like when you're getting started, you're like, oh, well, I don't have any brand name. I don't have any reputation. I don't have a follower. I don't have, I don't have followers. I don't have an established Facebook page. Like a lot of, or I don't have testimonials. A lot of people think that they need that before they can get started. Well, the as we're launching new offers right now, like for instance, back in August, I took on a partner client and I loved her offer and I just loved her vibe, her energy, everything about her. She was launching a brand new program and she had no followers, no testimonials, just a proven system. And the only case study that she had was herself, which is fine. That's really all you need. We launched her low ticket offer, which was at the time a $37 offer. And the first day that we launched it, remind you, no existing social media presence, nothing on her Facebook page, no testimonials. We were acquiring customers for $8 a piece. Like insane, insane.
Please tell me you're going to show them how to do that.
Yeah, we can talk about it for sure. I
Do
mean,
you
it's the
guys do
same.
you guys do you guys want to know how he did that? That would be amazing, Joel. I saw your case study and you had this like validation test of how we're actually validating these low ticket offers for because like we've all heard, the low ticket validation test, it's very popular. I use it myself. You spend $1,000 over 3 days. But I think if I read correctly, you have a version to where you can spend as little as $100 to validate a low ticket offer.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
we can talk about that for sure. You don't need more than $100 to get proper market feedback, especially with low ticket offers. I have this $100 framework for high ticket and low ticket, right? And so it applies understanding that you have to have faith and believe that Facebook really knows who your ideal buyer is if your copy is clear. And most importantly, your intent is clear, like your intent of what you want them to do. So we can certainly dive through that. And like that was also the whole purpose of like what we were trying to build Inspired, which is our software, to do as well, is to bring new ideas to you based on proven frameworks, based on proven copy, to give you endless ideas and really help you move the needle so much quicker.
Can you
So
unpack that a little bit? Because there's so many people in the room right now that are really struggling with trying to figure out who are they talking to and what specific problem can they actually solve? Can you kind of maybe give them a little framework of how you actually help your clients pull that out? Because I think that is one of my audiences that are sitting in the room right now. I think that's one of their biggest issues right now.
so just to be clear, you want help or you want me to explain like how to extract like what it is that they actually do?
Yeah, like how they're extracting what they actually do and their actual offer. Like how can they extract the offer in a clear way? Because I think a lot of people try to get a little bit too clever. They get lost in their proprietary methodology and it just ends up being a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo to their audience.
Yeah. Yeah. So the problem that I always see people do, and I'm sure you see it too, is they fall in love with their product or their methodology, not the end result that promises them. And I think the best way for me to explain it is to virtually and kindly slap my clients in the face when we go through this, right? Because they're so obsessed with their product. It's like they don't care about your methodology yet. Okay. They don't care about your process yet. The sales process that anybody has to go through always is the same when you're running ads or really doing anything. It's what is the end result that you want to help somebody achieve? That's the first goal, is making sure that we have a clear end result that people actually want. That is what the power offer is meant to do. Okay? It's meant to be that front end hook to grab people's attention and say, this is my promise. This is the result that I want to help you achieve. And I'm going to help you achieve it without doing all of the things that you hate. The best way that I get people to start to step out of the bubble that they live in of like, I don't know how to explain it, is to imagine that you're speaking to somebody who is already trying to achieve the result, but they've tried and failed. That's usually the simplest way to get people to start to think about the conversation. Like if you're talking to somebody who has already tried to achieve whatever that result is, but they've tried and failed, speak to that person. Okay. What have they tried in the past? Why has it failed? What are all the things that you know that they're going through because they've tried to lose 15 pounds in the past, but they can't seem to make it work? Well, why can't they make it work? Well, they're trying this other diet, or they're trying carnivore, they're trying, paleo, they're trying to go vegan, they're trying to go vegetarian, right? Whatever that is, like that now becomes part of your core promise. The end result is, hey, I want to help you lose 15 pounds in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or I want to help you lose 10 pounds in 10 days, right? And so that is a very simplified example of the end result. Now, just making that promise, especially to saturated markets, isn't going to likely be enough, especially in today's day and age, because, you know, they are more solution aware. Where you have to capture their attention is I'm going to help you get that result without all the things that you know that you're trying to go through. So the example that I give is with the power offer. It's like when I shifted my messaging to speak to, I was trying to attract webinar clients, right? So back in the day, I was trying to attract, webinar clients to build their webinars for them or consult with them. Well, the light bulb moment went off for me when I realized there was already such a large market of people who wanted a webinar but couldn't get it done, or they've tried to build one and failed. And so, and I also knew one of the major hurdles that they ran into was it just took way too long. Like they would spend weeks, months, or they've been thinking about it for years. So I took that data, I took that market feedback that I knew because I imagined I was speaking to somebody who tried and failed, and I crafted my power offer to say, and I designed an offer to fulfill on this. That's the other thing too, is like, you know, just because you have a product, a service, doesn't necessarily mean it's automatically going to create demand. Like you do need to understand what the market is experiencing and position yourself in a way that is much more appealing. So my first power offer was, hey, attention course creators or coaches, if I offer to help you, if I offer to build you a high converting webinar in the next 24 hours without you needing to know what to say or how to say it, would you take me up on that offer? Like that was a very desirable offer. It was very unique. Nobody was making that in the marketplace. And it spoke to that person who has tried and failed and who knew that typically webinars take so damn long to create. And so when you can step outside and speak to that tried and failed segment, your messaging starts to get a whole lot more clear because all you are trying to convey in your hook with your ad and your messaging is the what. What's the promise? What are you offering to do for me? And if you get somebody hooked in on that, only then do you now have permission to explain the how. I never talk about the how in that ad. I'm only talking about the what. I want to figure out what the core result is that people actually want, that drives demand for whatever I'm selling. And the same thing goes for low ticket too. It's selling anything. What do they want? And if they believe in your what, which is your core promise, only then do you now have permission to explain the how. And where a lot of people get hung up is they try and force the how upon them up front, and then they get buried in like, oh, here's my mechanism, here's what I do, and please listen to me. Like I have a really cool process, and it's so unique, and I get all these end results. And it's like, do they even believe your what first? Like, do they believe your core promise? Because you do not have permission to explain your how until you get buy-in on the what. So, was that helpful?
That's very helpful because, especially whenever I'm helping students write I actually have a script that's based upon how you talk about the how it works. I actually named it How It Works. And it's a version of the power offer that intros with the 1 to 2 sentence identifying the problem and then goes into the how it works. And one of the things that I see students make whenever they're actually following that framework is they're trying to say that their unique mechanism and they're just doing something that everyone already knows, but they're just naming it something different. And they're like identifying it because they've named it something different as their unique mechanism. Can you kind of explain what a unique mechanism actually is versus it's not just about taking something and renaming it.
Hmm. Yeah, a unique mechanism really needs to have a unique process behind it. Okay, so um, let's continue down the path of that first power offer, right? I really didn't have a unique mechanism for that core power offer. What I had was unique positioning and a unique process. I knew their core desire, like they already believed webinars worked. They already believed that they wanted one, or they already wanted one, but the main hurdle that they were going through was it just takes too darn long. I don't trust me creating it on my own. So what did I do? I instituted the value of time in the process. Okay. So getting a webinar done in 24 hours, like how many of you guys would buy that right now? Like that's like, or anything done in 24 hours. Like I love to sell to time. And that's one of the most valuable assets that all of us as course creators, coaches, service providers, like what do we do? Yes, we help them get better results, but a lot of times we help them shortcut the process and get them better results faster. So with that process, what I was doing was I was getting them, like we do an interview process, and then we would have their full outline of all of their slides done within 24 hours. We ended up fulfilling on that service, and it ended up like damn near killing some of my team members because it was a lot. So we backed up that promise just a little bit, which is okay. Like it's okay for you guys to like, test something really, really hot and see how it is with fulfilling it and then starting to back it up, back it up, back it up. I think we ended up backing it up to like 10 days and it still converted very, very high. But my process was not really like a unique methodology, or it's not like I created a new perfect webinar framework. It was, let's just get it done fast, right? Let's get it done as fast as possible. And I knew my audience would want, like, if I got them the outline of all of the slides done within 24 hours, they could then fill in the script for each slide, or they could just have talking points. That was good enough for them. And they all agreed, like, okay, yeah, like if you just give me the flow, I'll be able to fill in the script. And so, like, that was the offer. We'd map out everything with their webinar, give them every single slide with the bullet points and the high level overview. And then, we wouldn't do the full blown script because that's insane, but they loved it. And that's what sold. So a unique mechanism doesn't have to always be something totally unique. It really just needs to be like, what's the unique way that you get them results? And that should always tie back to what did I talk about before? Like what's the key avatar that we want to speak to? Like what's their situation? Somebody comment in the chat. I talked about it like many, many times. It's 3 words that identifies them. Tried and failed. Perfect. Estriana got it. Estriana May, thank you. Your unique mechanism simply needs to counteract what they've tried and failed, right? So to give you another example of another funnel that I built for myself when we went to the mini webinar route. Now, mini webinar was totally unique. It was a totally new mechanism and process. How it was positioned when we started to really market that, it was targeting course creators who were just about to launch, and they all believed that they should launch with a webinar because that still is talked about today. And so my entire positioning around that was you don't need a webinar to launch your course. In fact, it's the riskiest way, and I still believe it to this day. It's the riskiest way to launch any sort of offer. And so my mechanism was the mini webinar, and I would every single step in the unique mechanism process, I would just say, like, most people think that you need to launch a webinar to launch a course. That's backwards, and here's why, right? They think, a webinar to a $500 or $1,000 product is the best way to go. And I'm like, here's all the numbers that you have to be aware of up front. You've got advertising spend. Your conversion rate is going to be this. And so, like, everything was just positioned against their belief of the webinar. And so that's all your unique mechanism is doing. It's getting them to see a perspective shift of how your new process is far superior than what they're already thinking of. That's all a unique mechanism is. And it doesn't have to be something super grandiose with, hiring a brand writer to come up with a unique name for it. all it needs to do is everything that you describe in your unique mechanism has to sell against something that they already know they've tried and they've failed, right? In my mini webinar framework, I use a lot of language in the script that says, you probably already know, yada, yada, yada. You probably think, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's false, and here's why. You probably already know, you're probably already aware, or you probably believe that webinars are the best way for you to sell a course. Well, that may or may not be true. Here's what you need to consider. And I walk them through all of the standard conversion rates of what a webinar funnel looks like when it's fully dialed in. Now, before it's dialed in, your number is going to be way worse than this. So it's like, can you front $10,000 in ads before ever making a sale? No? Okay, cool. You probably shouldn't consider a webinar because that's what needs to happen. Is it one of the most powerful ways to scale a huge brand? Absolutely, right? Most multi 7 and 8 figure marketers are probably running a webinar, but they're targeting an awareness level that supports that. And so then I introduce them to the awareness level. It's like, well, why does this matter? Why does the awareness level matter? It's like, well, guess what? You already have 10% of your market that's already ready and willing to buy. So then I introduce them to the power offer, right? And it's like, target these people and they'll pay you a high dollar amount. So it's like, that's all your process is meant to do, is just consistently crush their existing beliefs and rebuild them to what you want them to believe. That's all persuasion is, and that's what your unique mechanism really has to do. That's all it is like, you're just, what have they tried and failed? What do they think is true, and why is it false?
Yeah, a lot of my students here saw me recently do this in late December with my Lean on Laurel program. I was like, most of you guys in here have hired an agency. Most of you guys have been through an ads coaching program. My new thing is I've created a hybrid model that merges the two, where in the first 7 days I will have your ads ecosystem up and running. I will write your ads, place your ads, and then teach you how to manage them without having to do all of this stuff. And I was like, I wonder how well this is going to work. But it was just a reframe of an old model. And we've sold more Lean on Laurel seats in the last 3 months than we have, all of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just
100%.
simply just by doing exactly what you said right there, is like, what is it that they don't want to do? What is it that they've already seen? What is it that they've already failed at? And then just making sure that every single hole in that was plugged with something that, well, if you don't like doing this, I'm going to do this. If you don't like doing this, I'm going to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really how you build a really great offer.
100%. You nailed it.
Yeah. So we have just a couple of more minutes. I know that Joel is going to walk us through the low ticket, what he's doing with that low ticket. And then for those of you guys who are in Lean on Laurel or Momentum, you guys have another Zoom room where we're going to get this guy all to ourselves. So if you've been wondering on whether or not you should join Momentum, I mean, people in Momentum, and we get to do stuff like that. And so we're going to have our own little session with Mr. Erway here in just a little bit. Make sure you guys go, if you are in Momentum, make sure you go to the other Zoom link, as well as Lean on Laurel students, you guys too. But Joel, do you want to end this particular call and just kind of like walk them through the low ticket offer validation?
Yeah. So really, it's the same concept as, a power offer going to book a call. So as I've been, deep in the low ticket world for the past like 5 or 6 years and running ads, I took the same concepts of a power offer, which is, what is it that they really want? How do I make sure that I can get qualified clicks going to my sales page? And I essentially took the power offer framework and modeled that. It's written differently, but it's the same exact concept, and started doing that for low ticket ads. And I call them little mini sales page ads, right? I could probably call it like low ticket power offer ads if I want to be super sexy and just continue with my branding. But I really call them mini sales page ads, because what we want to do is, and this is why I love Facebook, by the way. I'm sure this could probably work for YouTube. I just, full transparency, haven't tested this on YouTube. But what we want to do is, if we've got some sort of low ticket offer, I'll say low ticket is sub $100. That's just what I like to promote with paid ads. I have seen some people run, ads straight to $2, $3, $4, $5,000, offers. I just don't have any data. I don't know if it's working. I don't know what their profitability is, and I don't know the behind the scenes. But what I do know is when you're running ads to like sub $100 offers, like you can make it work with cold traffic. You can be profitable and start to build, your ecosystem that way. But your mini sales page ad really just needs to open it up with like what their core desire is and then outline all of the core things that are in your offer. It's called a mini sales page ad because it's actually a sales page on the ad. What I want more than anything, anything is not how cheap of clicks I can get to my sales page. I want how many qualified clicks of people who are reading my ad and clicking through, knowing there's an offer, knowing that they have full intent to consider making a purchase. That's my only goal with low ticket offers is making sure I can get that message out there and validate whether or not people are willing to take their credit card out and buy so I know that there is demand. And so
Could
I want
I
to see.
actually bring up my low ticket
Sure.
power offer? That way we
Yep.
have a visual and you kind of like maybe just go through it and be like, I would do this instead, just so that students can kind of have a
Yeah.
visual. Is that
Y-
okay?
Yeah, you can. So I'll just add one more thing before we look at that stuff is so many people put so much damn focus on the sales page with their low ticket offer. And this is one of the things that I learned after 5 years of testing and over $350,000 in ads spent to one funnel is that like I spent so much time sweating over the sales page. I spent so much time, hiring copywriters, hiring agencies, hiring VSL producers, testing headlines, testing the flow. And my conversion rate variance day to day would vary so much. Like I might be at 2% conversion rate one day, 10% the next day. And I started to realize like how can I draw any sort of conclusion, like definitive conclusion on what my sales page is actually doing when I have such a wide range of variance. Now, I'm not saying that your sales page is not important, but it's probably only 10% important. Okay? What carries 90% of your weight is the intent of the frame of your ad and making sure that anyone who reads your ad and clicks has intent to buy. Because what we know is that I can get somebody 90% of the way sold by reading an ad with bonuses listed, with the price fully revealed, and saying, hey, if you want this, go click this link and go buy. And if I can't convert those people, then the sales page doesn't matter because a lot of people will read, like your high intent buyers will read your mini sales page ad and say, I'm in. And those like, and this is what Facebook is great at is, you know, you want irrefutable evidence with your ads. Like you want irrefutable evidence that your ads work. And when you get it to convert, I'm sure some of you guys have figured this out, have experienced this. You'll launch an ad that crushes and you'll get a surge of sales or booked appointments and you'll get a flood of, low cost, whatever your desired action is. And that's because Facebook is feeding you those people first. If you never get that signal, like you do nothing else except you keep working until you get the surge, like period. If I don't ever get that surge, like the offer is dead and like we need to do something totally different. So like I am looking for that irrefutable evidence that I've got something in demand that a lot of people want. And that will usually happen when you first launch your ads or your first surge of buyers or applications. And they'll come through at your lowest cost possible. A lot of people think like, this is just my experience. A lot of people think like, oh, the pixel will optimize and it will gradually decrease your costs. I'm like, I've noticed the exact opposite. I will get low costs in the very, very beginning, and then it gradually goes up to it levels off at some sort of point, but it gradually goes up. Like I don't ever wait to get the pixel seasoned. Yeah, it's important, but like Facebook knows who your buyers are by reading your ad copy and reading your landing page. And so if you don't get that initial surge right away, something's off. Like you need a better offer. You need better framing or better positioning. And there's another mistake that most people do is they try to create ads that are curiosity driven or don't reveal the price or don't pre-sell them in a way that that click is not qualified. And so they're driving low intent clicks to their site and they're not making any sales. So now they're like, I don't know what's broken. Well, I fixed a lot of people's ads simply by making higher intent ad copy that properly pre-sells them, and it fixes what's happening downstream in the funnel as well. So I know there was a lot to take in there, but like the whole goal is high intent clicks with properly pre-sold, pre-framed mini sales page ads. That's the secret to low ticket, in my opinion.
Yeah. And because someone, Monica said, so when I launched last week, I got 5 purchases in one day, but then not again for 3 days. Should I have kept going? Yes, and here's why. So I'll put in a little bit of depth to what like Joel just said. So whenever you first launch your ads, Facebook is going to give you the highest quality traffic possible. And for some of us, that happens to be our warm traffic. Even though you are targeting cold traffic, Facebook will find your highest intent audience, with, in a lot of cases, is your warm audience. And so that's why sometimes you will get a high surge of people, unless you're excluding all of your warm traffic, right? And even then, it's not even for sure that your warm traffic is going to be excluded. But then it's going to go to the highest quality cold traffic. And so that's why you're going to get a surge like what Joel's talking about, right? But the thing is as your ad, that same ad is running for a long period of time, it's almost like a totem pole where it's going down in quality the longer that the ad runs, because that ad is super targeted to one pocket of people. Does that make sense? And so,
Mhm.
Monica, yes, in some cases you should keep your ads going, because honestly, and Joel will say this too, Facebook sales do this anyway. Like, I will go 2 days without a sale and then the next day get 15 and then one and then 10. And then like Facebook ads just naturally do that. What you need to look for are the trends. Okay. And yeah, it doesn't matter what, like someone asked, would this framework work for travel agencies and network marketing? Absolutely. This works for any type of ad, by the way. Like it will trend up as soon as you launch something if it's good. Like when Billie Jean launches an ad, and he and I had a conversation about this. He's like, Laurel, I have to be profitable on day one. I've got people to pay. I've got, like, if he's not profitable, so he will launch ads at $500 a day each to get the surge that Joel is talking about, because he wants that fast data. And so that's what he's looking for in scalability, is exactly everything that Joel just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's a balancing act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you do want that surge, but you also want that surge to sustain itself. I've seen this happen with low ticket as well, or I'm sorry, with high ticket as well. Somebody will launch a power offer and they get a client right away, and it's because Facebook knows so much about you that even if you're not running ads, but you have a Facebook profile, like you're building a warm audience there and it knows that, right? So I had a copywriter who was like the lead copywriter at ClickFunnels, and he launched a power offer ad, got a book call, and got a very high ticket client immediately, like on day one or day two. And then his leads dwindled. And so that's data that you have to take into account, where yes, it's going to give you the warm traffic first, but if it does die off, like I would still be iterating rapidly, right? Because you're taking advantage of the warm traffic wherever it is, and Facebook knows what your warm traffic is based on your profile and based on other factors. So once you get that warm traffic to convert, if it's not converting to cold, well then like I'm continuing to iterate in big ways, like completely new angles, completely new promises that are within my sphere of deliverability, until I find the surge that actually sustains it. And it is irrefutable. So if it does die down, like I'm still testing. Like if it dies down on day two, usually that's an indicator to me that like, okay, I captured my warmest of warm leads. Now with my client who had zero presence, I know that she didn't have any warm traffic of people who knew her, but there is still warm traffic of people who are buying her competitors style offers. And so um, it's a balance, but you need that initial, like you need the surge. And if you don't have the surge, like you keep iterating. And if the surge happens one day and then you go flat out like 4 or 5 days with zero sales, like, all right, you tapped into some sort of warm pocket, or, the market's just too small. But most likely the offer just isn't compelling enough for a large enough audience.
This is such a great conversation because this is the stuff that I feel like so many people don't talk about in their marketing, right? Especially when people are going to, launch offers because I see that most time people are just turning off ads way too soon or they're letting them go like way too long. And you have to kind of have that find that balance. Like someone just asked, so as the cost per conversion increases, should we keep the ads running? Well, that's not a good question because the real question is how long have you been running the conversion ads and what is the trend, right? And so that's why it's important that you get your own data. I might be able to run an ad for 7 days. Joel might be able to run something for 3 days and actually get that quick direct feedback loop that he wants.
Hmm.
So I'll show you guys what someone was asking. Do you have an example of what a high intent ad looks like? This is my power offer ad. I wrote this years ago. Look at this. 2022 is still one of my best performing ads. And what Joel means by high intent is that we're telling them what the price is. We're telling them that we're selling something. We're not holding back that this is a paid offer. And so like a lot of times people will brag about their click-through rate. Well, I'm getting a high click-through rate, but I'm not getting any sales. But then I go and I look at their ad and it's like, well, you don't even tell them that this is a paid product. And so a bunch of people probably think this is free, and that's why your click-through rate is so high.
Hmm.
Um, what would be let's actually go through this because this is your basic power offer script. So what is the difference between this and the mini sales page? Because I really like that idea. And I'm being selfish right now, Joel, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take after this call and go place that ad that you were just talking about. So I'm selfishly going to have you go through my ad and just kind of like point out the differences.
Yep. Let me see if I can pull open a mini sales page uh, ad real quick.
Okay.
In my group, in my insiders program, we just had I just fixed this for a copywriter or an agency owner. Like she's running low ticket ads for her clients. She's like, hey, I was getting sales for a long time and now they just died. And I went through this exact same process. So I'm wondering if I can, all right, let's try this. So I'm going to share this.
Okay.
I just sent my request to share it. Um, this might not be the most clean way, just because I wasn't like prepared to share this. So we'll work through this and we'll make sure you
I've
guys.
never I've never shared double screens before. How does this work?
I don't know. We'll
I was
figure it
kind of
out.
going to see if there's a before and after. I don't know.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Um, why can I not see the screen? Maybe I have to stop sharing in order to see it. Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay. It's putting it at the top, right? If I go back to Zoom. Sorry,
So
guys. I'm just trying
I
to
don't
figure
see
it out.
anything just because I'm sharing screen. So I don't know exactly what. Um,
Yeah, this is. Can y'all both see both of our stuff or just Joel's or just mine?
Now we can just see yours before we saw Joel. I think you need to stop sharing maybe. Now we can see Joel.
Nope. At the top, you can choose. There were three different tabs. One said meeting, one said Laurel's, and one said Joel's. And so when I clicked on Joel's, it showed yours, but Laurel, you must have deleted yours.
okay. Can everyone
Oh,
see my
okay.
screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So Emily is in my insiders program, and she was running into the issue we just talked about. So she was making sales, then it died off, and she didn't really know what was going on. So her context was she was running some real ads, Instagram real ads, and she's selling a $7 offer. Like it's a live workshop for $7. And so she brought this onto my last call, and she's like, "Hey, we're not getting any sales here." She said they're not getting any sales. They actually were making sales, but she's like, "We're just not profitable." So they were making some sales, but they were like $40 cost per acquisition. I'm like, well, you're selling a $7 offer, so like your economics, like you just have to reshape your economics because you are still making sales at $40 a pop. And so anyway, we fixed it. And so she did some before and after. So if we take a look at this, she changed her sales page and she changed the framing of her ad. Everything based to be much more revealing of like this is a paid offer. Here's what to do next, and driving higher intent clicks. So they were pre-sold before going to the sales page. So she said, I simplified the sales page, almost cut the copy in half. This was actually feedback you gave someone else on their landing page because it might be distracting. After reviewing my sales page, this was good. Okay, yada, yada, yada. So before and after of the sales page. So this was my old headline. Pre-header, how wellness entrepreneurs are signing 1 to 5 clients a month online without posting 24/7. Main headline, discover the exact Instagram messaging framework for teachers, health coaches, yada, 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 generating 10K months without content overload. This is the new headline. Pre-header for wellness practitioners ready to turn Instagram followers into paying clients. So I would say not a, so if we look at it, it's like how wellness entrepreneurs are doing this, like understand like your language on your sales, on everything matters so much. There's marketing copy and then there's sales copy. Okay. Marketing copy is meant to educate. It's meant to drive curiosity. None of that is necessarily high intent based. Sales copy speaks to transformation. It speaks to benefits. It speaks to here's what is going to happen when you complete this. Okay. So look at the framing of the pre-header. How wellness entrepreneurs are doing this. Kind of sounds like a blog post, right? The new pre-header is for wellness practitioners who are ready to turn Instagram followers into paying clients. Much more intent-based, okay? Now we go to the main headline. The old main headline, discover marketing language, right? Kind of sounds like, if it sounds like a blog post, it's not a sales page, okay? Discover the exact Instagram messaging framework for yoga teachers, health teachers, yada, 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 without content overload. The new headline, get the exact Instagram content framework that turns followers into paying clients without being on social media all day. Like those small tweaks change the entire positioning and the framing of the sales page, okay? So for the ads, she said she kept the reels, but changed the ad copy around. So the old ad copy, again, was very much curiosity driven. I'm not going to go through all of it, but it says, here's the old copy. Your expertise and dedication aren't the problem, but without the right messaging, yada, yada, yada. So she's just like speaking to pain, and not really giving them the solution. I'm not talking about like revealing the solution in the ad, but not saying like, I can help you solve this problem. And here's how much it's going to cost. If you're tired of all these pains, you need one skill, messaging that converts. Join me for the IG messaging makeover on this date to learn the exact framework, yada, yada, yada. This 2-hour intensive will do this. Save your spot through the button below. It sounds like a free webinar registration, right? Sounds like a free webinar registration. Here's the new ad copy. There are 2 types of wellness practitioners on Instagram. The first group here, the second group here. They know exactly yada, yada, yada. The difference, a proven framework. I discovered this framework after years of trial and error. Now I'm teaching it to others. Here's what's going to happen, or here are some results. Do you want to join the second group? Now she goes into like her offer stack. In my live 2-hour Instagram messaging workshop, you'll get this, 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 and this. It's at this time, and it's just $7. Okay? Positioning matters, okay? Pre-selling, pre-qualifying your click matters. It matters so much. We do it in the creative. We do it in the copy. And if you guys just understand this, everything will convert better for you. If you increase the quality of your clicks, everything will convert better for you. And you know what also happens? Facebook knows that you're selling something, and it's going to put it in front of buyers who actually purchase. It's like, it sounds so simple when you go through it, but so many people want to create, I'll call them blog post style ads, curiosity driven ads. And it's like, you're not meeting their expectations, or you're trying to approach the unaware market or the problem aware market who's not actively looking for a solution. And of course your conversion rates are going to be lower because you have like, not saying that this doesn't work, but she was getting sales from it, but it was just going up and up.
People
and up
aren't
and up
reading
and up.
it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, people are scrolling and they have such short attention spans. And it's like, they're just looking for, do I want this or not? You know, like that's one of the main things that I'm seeing is like long form copy from a story standpoint for cold traffic. It works really well for warm traffic, but for cold traffic, it's not working like it used to.
Yeah. Yep. And so this is what I call like a mini sales page, because it tells them Like, here's the problem. Here's my core promise. If you want this, like, I'm hosting a $7 live workshop. Click here to register. Yada yada yada. Like, it's awesome. Like, it's like that's what I want everybody to do with all of their low ticket ads, and follow the same framework for your high ticket stuff. Meaning, you don't have to reveal the price for your high ticket. I would recommend you don't, because you need to. There's a different sales process that you go to. But if you're selling low ticket, like, make sure that they know that when they click, they're going to a sales page and not, some sort of blog post, which the first one sounded like a blog post, or it sounded like a free webinar. And they get there, it's, oh, wait, you're charging me $7 for this? Well, even though $7 isn't a whole lot, I wasn't expecting that. So your conversion rate is going to be a lot lower. It's shifting the game from
so good.
marketing to sales.
That's so good. Yeah. Gio says, I'm so glad I'm here. This is so good. Yeah. I'm glad you guys were here too. We're gonna switch over to the other Zoom. How do you feel about that, Joel? Can my Momentum members pick your brain for a little while?
For sure.
Awesome. Momentum peeps and Lean on Laurel peeps, I'll see you guys on the other Zoom link. And the rest of you guys, I will see you inside the Facebook group. You guys are very welcome.
Thanks, everyone.